Hey everybody, this is Pooka, and I'm back with the finals of the Des Plaines, Illinois Battle Road. Now, in the top four, we saw a crazy match between Dave, who's on the right, playing Typhlosion, and Chan, who's playing Magnezone, which went to Game 3, where Chan actually ran out of stuff to attack with, so he ended up losing. So here we are. We got Dave on the right, and on the left, a guy you might know, Josh Whittencolor. Maybe you might know him better as J-Wittz, but we'll call him Josh. That's a little better. So, he's starting off with Yanma and a Magnemite. He's playing Yanmega Magnezone with Kingdra. And Dave still playing his Typhlosion Reshiram. If he wasn't, we'd have to check a few things. But looks like Dave just played a Sharon on his first turn, passed, no energy, no nothing. And Josh doesn't look like he's doing a whole lot either on his first turn. So let's just take a second. Oh, and there's a judge, so wow. We're going to have some crazy stuff right off the bat. A judge from Josh on the first turn. It's really going to make this game kind of into a crapshoot, you know. If both people draw well off judge, we'll see a normal game. If one person draws well and the other doesn't, then we're going to see a pretty lopsided game. If neither person draws well, we're going to see a really scrappy, weird game. So, let's see how this one turns out. But, in general, how does this matchup go? Well, a lot of it depends on who goes first. And Dave did go first, so if he can get Typhlosions going before Yanmega gets to take some cheap prizes, you know, if he starts blue flaring when he's only maybe one prize behind, I think Typhlosion is the favorite here. You know, once Reshiram and Typhlosion get going, you know, you get to blue flare every turn, Yanmega kind of gets taken out of the picture. It really has to rely on catchers to knock out basics like Vulpix and Cyndaquils while it can. Otherwise, you're just going to get overrun by Reshiram. You know, blue flare 120 every turn. It'll knock out Yanmegas over and over and over. He can even catcher out the Magnezones and, you know, take those out. So I do think it's a very close matchup. It just depends on who gets set up first and who goes first. Now, Dave did go first, but, you know, he's forced to eke here. His start is not very strong. That judge kind of set him back. And we can see the Clef has stayed asleep. Josh is confused about the die. That is a Tails. So we'll have to see how good Josh's draw off the judge was. Doesn't look like he's doing anything too crazy just yet, so puts a rainbow on Magnemite. And let's see if he's got anything else. You know, when you judge on the first turn, it's a risk for you and your opponent. I mean, you can draw bad off of it. Your opponent can draw bad off of it. And Yanmega Magnezone is really fragile until it gets that first Magnezone out. You know, it only runs stuff like Copycat and Judge and maybe like Oak's New Theory Twins for supporters. So until you get that Magnezone out, you really stall. So we did see Josh paralyze Vulpix with a Thunder Shock, and Dave could do nothing. He benched some Cyndaquils and passed. And looks like Josh can still do nothing. So we'll have another Thunder Shock and another Heads for paralysis. So poor Vulpix is stranded out there. And, you know, unless Dave can do something to get it out of the active spot, we might see Vulpix get taken out by Magnemite. And there we go. Dave gives the go-ahead to Josh. And it looks like Magnemite will draw first blood in this match. Unless something happens here. So, not exactly the way you would think this matchup would play out. The first, well, we're on turn 4 or 5 here. We've seen 3 Thunder Shocks, an Eek, and nothing else. So, we're going to see another Eek from Dave here. He's going to try to draw something, because obviously his hand is not very good. Josh doesn't really have anything either, so, you know, this game is still going to come down to who gets, like, the first stage 2 into play. Who gets something out first. You know, Josh can't sit here the whole game using Thunder Shock. That's not going to work. Eventually, Dave will draw something. So he really needs stage 2. He needs the Magnezone out. And what do you know? There's a Magnezone. So this game just turned around completely. We see he's got Magnezone with 2 energy on it already. He'll be able to magnetic draw. I see a catcher in his hand, so he'll be able to catcher something out. He's even got a collector. So this is going to be a big turn for Josh. You know, he went from nothing in play to he's going to explode here. This is kind of what Magnezone can do for you. You have nothing in play, you have absolutely no presence on the board, and then you just get a rare candy Magnezone, and all of a sudden you can draw into more stuff and just get fully set up just because magnetic draw is so powerful. So here we're going to see him collector, got a Magnemite and a Horsey on the bench, and then he communications in the Yanmega he searched for. We're going to see a Yanmega. So at this point, if I'm Dave, I'm probably thinking, oh boy, I'm already down a prize, I don't have any evolutions in play. Now I got a Magnezone and a Yanmega staring me down. How am I going to get out of this one? I'm going to need to do something quick. You know, I don't have much time to sit around and do nothing. So it's going to be a challenge. It's definitely not out of hand yet. You know, I would think Dave has 1 or 2 more turns to get going. Otherwise, there's no way he can really come back. He's just going to get run over. And here we see a catcher. Brings out Vulpix. Drops another energy onto Magnezone. Now he knows he just has to Lost Burn for a knockout. And there's 1 Vulpix gone already. And alright, there we go. Josh will take his second prize with Lost Burn. There's a Vulpix. 2 Vulpix in the prize now, so unless Dave revives for a Vulpix, there's not going to be any Ninetales anytime soon. And you commit 4 spots to your deck with a 2/2 Ninetales, so those are 4 cards in his deck that just got wasted. And you know, usually you run those in place of supporters, so it's going to be tough for Dave to keep rolling here, to get set up. But he's going to just outrage Magnezone for 20. He knows there's no real way to get knocked out by this Magnezone unless Josh just drops something crazy like an energy on his active, and then Pachirisu with 2 lightning. Otherwise, there's just no way that this Reshiram's getting knocked out. But let's see, we got a Junk Arm, gets a rare candy and another Magnezone. So now he's really going to start drawing through his deck. Now he's going to get 2 magnetic draws every turn. You can see he's got 1 card in his hand, so this first one is going to be for quite a few cards. So he puts a rainbow down. He's actually going to draw 6 straight up. So puts an energy on his active. There's a chance he could get Pachirisu and 2 lightning. And yikes. He's even got a Kingdra this turn, so 2 turns ago we were just seeing a Magnemite with 2 energy and a Yanma. And now look at what we got. 2 Magnezones, a Kingdra Prime, a Yanmega, and Dave's in trouble. There's no way around it. He's just in a bad spot. You know, he's got no Typhlosions out. He's got a Reshiram with 2 energy at least, so there's that. But, you know, he's down 2 prizes. Josh has got access to pretty much his whole deck because, well, he's got 2 Magnezones. And if my eyes don't deceive me, that is a 3rd Magnezone he just played a communication for. So we might see another rare candy and another Magnezone. But nope, he just magnetic draws here. Maybe Magnetome's prize, so we do see that. And I'm going to think he's going for a catcher or a Patchy and 2 lightning, and what do you know, there's another Magnezone. So 5 primes on the field for Josh now. Kind of intimidating, to be honest. If you just look at the contrast between the sides. You have 5 primes on the left, and then you have a Reshiram, Cleffa, some Colavas, and a Cyndaquil. And then you look at the prizes. Josh has 4, Dave has 6. It's not looking good. Now we see a collector for Pachirisu. So this dreaded situation that I was talking about before, that didn't seem too likely at the beginning of the turn. A Pachirisu with 2 lightning. You know, Josh was just at 1 energy in play. Dave's Reshiram was looking safe. And there goes the rainbow. We see Josh uses a spray splash on the Cleffa, Kingdra Prime's power, to put 10 on Cleffa, because eventually that's going to be a spray splash knockout. And we see another Lost Burn for 150. Dave's down 3 prizes. He's effectively down 4 prizes, because eventually that Kingdra Prime's going to knock out Cleffa. There's a chance that Dave could catch her out the Kingdra, knock it out, and save that prize. But, you know, it doesn't look too good for Dave. There's no Ninetales in play. He's going to have to play a Juniper here. Looks like he discarded a Catcher and a Junk Arm and a Fire. So, not the greatest. He just has that one Typhlosion out right now. Let's see, we have a Junk Arm though. Let's see what he gets rid of. Ninetales, yeah, that's probably going to be useless. And I'm going to assume he's going to go for a Typhlosion here. You know, get a communication out of his discard. Go for a Typhlosion. And yep, there's communication. That way he'll be able to Afterburner twice onto his active. Flare Destroy the Rescue Energy, leaving Josh with no energy in play. Because when you're facing a Yanmega Magnezone deck, one of the things that you have to worry about is just how much energy they have in play. You know, without the energy, all they can do is attack with Yanmega for 70, which doesn't do a whole lot when you got Reshirams and Typhlosions. So if you can target down the energy, keep them out of play, take Lost Burn out of the equation, they'll eventually win. However, he's down 3 prizes, that Kingdra's in play, so it's going to be next to impossible for a comeback at this point. He's going to try, because you know this game hasn't been going on for very long, but this looks ugly no matter how you look at it. You know, there's 3 Magnezones on the field. Josh is going to be able to just draw through his deck, no problem. There's a Yanmega. Something that is kind of troubling is the fact that Josh kind of left his bench in a weird spot. You know, he's got 3 Magnezones, but only 1 Yanmega, so if he gets in a spot where he needs to attack with Yanmegas back-to-back, he's not going to have that option because he won't have another Yanma ready on the bench to evolve. So he's really going to be limited by how much energy he has in play. You know, his only attacker really is Magnezone. Kingdra doesn't do anything against fire Pokemon, ironically. Pachirisu obviously not doing anything. But, yeah, all he's got is Magnezone, so... You know, if this were a normal game where Dave was a little closer on prizes, you know, maybe even down only 2 instead of 3, I think this would be a bad spot for Josh, just because he only has those Magnezones. He only has 1 Yanmega in play. He doesn't have space for another one to follow up. You know, you can't just keep using Lost Burn every turn. You run out of energy, especially when Flare Destroy discards them. So, just something to look out for when you're playing, but it doesn't look like it'll hurt Josh this time around because, you know, he's just so far ahead. That Kingdra's going to get him a prize, I would assume, eventually on that Cleffa. And, you know, all it's going to take is 2 Lost Burn knockouts for a win. Even a couple Sonic Booms. I mean, he's got time to just sit back and, you know, Dave's got to catch up on prizes. He's down 3. He's going to be down a 4th after Cleffa gets knocked out. So it's going to be, you know, it's going to be a race. Can Josh take those prizes before Dave really sets up and starts taking knockout after knockout with the Reshirams? Or is it just too late? So as we can see here, he's going to catch her out this Magnezone with an energy, keeping the energy out of play, you know, making it impossible for Josh to really attack for a whole lot. Now the problem is, one, you can run out of catchers. Look, I think Dave has played a few. There's a lot of Junk Arms in his discard, so he's going to run out of those. That's not a question. The other part of it is Kingdra. You know, even though Josh can't really attack, the spray splash damage is going to add up eventually. So when he does attack, it's going to be a big deal. He'll be able to get knockouts once he does finally attack. So these are all things you got to be aware of. You know, it might be close. you know, even though the prize situation is so lopsided in this scenario, there's still a small chance Dave could come back if Josh just runs out of steam. You know, I'm not sure how many energy he plays, but looks like there's 5 in the Lost Zone, 2 in the discard, so there's a small chance he could just run out of steam, but, you know, with 3 Magnezones in play, there's just so much stuff he can draw into. Eventually he's going to hit a switch, I would think, and there's a Judge. So he also catchered out that Typhlosion with no energy. I don't know how much that's going to do, just because, you know, he can just Afterburner twice, and if he has an energy, he'll just be able to attack. But, I don't know, Josh might need a switch here, so he can use Yanmega to attack. Other than that, doesn't really have many options. And he actually just passed, so wow. Alright, so we got a communication from Dave, and this might be the opening he needs. We got a 3rd Typhlosion on the field. Now, the big thing is, he's gonna have to survive. Even though his Pokemon are so big, he's gonna take the energy out of Josh's field. He's gotta survive. His Pokemon might just get worn down eventually by Kingdra and Yanmega. And it's really tough to take 6 prizes when your opponent only has to take 2. When there's a Kingdra whittling away your Pokemon 10 damage at a time. Unless he plays cards that heal, like a Max Potion, even a regular Potion. Unless he plays cards like those, it's going to be really tough to just take that many prizes in a row without being knocked out twice. That's the reality of the situation right now. But he's going to do everything he can. He's going to Flare Destroy, get his first prize. And now we have Josh with just 1 energy in play. But that Magnezone getting knocked out clears up another bench spot for a Yanma. So that's going to be important. Even if this Yanmega gets knocked out, I'll have a follow-up. It's important to note that Dave had to Afterburner to his active 3 times, so a Sonic Boom this turn, and a Linear Attack next turn from Yanmega. That's going to knock out this Typhlosion. And then he just needs 1 Lost Burn to win then. So, not a pretty situation. This is kind of the trouble you can have in this matchup if you just fall too far behind early on. You know, we just saw Josh get the better setup. They both started off pretty ugly, but once Josh got that Magnezone, and he knocked out both of Dave's Vulpixes, there was just not much that could happen. Dave just fell behind 3 prizes. Once that happens, you know, with Catcher in the format, it's hard to deny your opponent prizes at the end of the game. Especially, I mean, between Catcher and Yanmega's Linear Attack. It's just, you're not going to be able to deny prizes for very long, unless you have stuff that can heal, or pick up your Pokemon like Seeker, or Super Scoop Up. There's just no way that Josh won't just take the last prize eventually. So here we have a copycat. He's going to even the hand sizes for Yanmega's Insight, so he can Sonic Boom, I would assume, setting up the Typhlosion for a knockout. I didn't catch how many cards were in Dave's hand, but I think it's 6. So he can attach an energy, and then Magnetic Draw, and yep, a Magnetic Draw to even the hand sizes again. This is the synergy between Yanmega and Magnezone. And actually, he's just going to go right for it. He's going to send up his Magnezone, Spray Splash the Typhlosion, and Lost Burn. I don't know if this was the best idea, but he is down to 1 prize now. He took a Typhlosion out of play. And now Dave's going to be in a weird spot. You know, he's got to make do with what he's got. So, we got a Reshiram here. Plays a Fire on it. We're going to see 2 Afterburners, obviously, to power up Blue Flare. But then after that, where do we go? What does Dave want to do? If he doesn't have a catcher, he's going to attack the active. That's simple enough. If he does have a catcher, I would actually consider catching out Yanmega. Now, why would I do that? Well, there's no energy in play. The only way Josh is going to take prizes anymore is Yanmega. You know, I might think my best shot is just to hope my opponent doesn't have enough energy to win the game. You know, there's a lot in the Lost Zone, there's a lot in the discard. Maybe he just ran out of energy, so that might be the risk you have to take when you're down so many prizes. So Dave's going to take a look at Josh's discard pile, just to see how many resources he's burned through so far. You know, there's a chance Josh can just run out of steam. And if that's the case, just taking out the Yanmegas could be the one way to come back. Taking out his only attackers. But it is kind of risky. At this point, if Josh has 2 energy, I think he probably wins the game. Between Afterburner, damaging his own Pokemon, and Spray Splash, you know, a Lost Burn for 100 is just going to be the way to win. There's no other way around it. So here we see kind of a strange play. Looks like Dave didn't have... I'm not sure what happened. He just played a switch for Typhlosion, and Afterburner to it, and then used Flare Destroy. Don't know what really happened there. Not sure why he didn't just attack with Reshiram in that spot, but I don't know, maybe I missed something. So, we're going to see Josh has a switch here, and that's pretty much going to be the end of it. He'll be able to Sonic Boom this turn. Looks like he's going to Collector for nothing, just to even out hand sizes. So, he's going to be able to Sonic Boom the active, and then Typhlosion will be left with 40 hit points, which means it just takes 1 linear attack from Yanmega in order to win the game. So, here Dave is pretty much done for. There's no way he can really avoid a linear attack knockout. I mean, unless he can play his hand down to a ridiculous size, and then Dave flashed his hand there just to show us the bad news. Unless he could lower his hand size down to like 0, and then Josh is out of Copycats and Judges, and also can't play his hand down to 0. There's no way Dave can really do anything at this point. You know, that's just the grim reality of it. He's going to give up a prize. If we were in this situation and the prizes were like 3-3, or even 2 for Josh and 3 for Dave, I would say Dave would win this game. But the cruel reality of it is he's just too far behind. There's just 1 prize left for Josh. It's going to be too easy. He got too many cheap ones at the beginning, and with Catcher, with Kingdra, it's just too much. Josh isn't gonna miss a prize here, and Dave just plays his hand down as much as he can, takes a knockout, and Josh promotes the Yanmega, so it's pretty much gonna be it. And let's see, you got Magnemite and linear attacks to Typhlosion, so that'll be the end of game 1. You know, it wasn't too close. You know, Josh had the superior setup. He just got up pretty quickly, played it well. You know, if Yanmega Magnezone gets ahead of Typhlosion like that, with Catcher at their disposal, it's just tough to make a comeback with Typhlosion. You know, before, when there was just reversal, you know, you could just make a comeback because, you know, they didn't have those cheap prizes. They didn't have access to them at will. You know, there were still reversal flips. They only worked about half the time, so that was game 1. Maybe we'll see a better one game 2. We'll see if Dave can come back. You know, he's had a good run thus far. He did come back against that Magnezone deck in the last round, so we'll see what he can do. This has been game 1, and I'll be right back with game 2.